Alright, welcome to an edition of your Fletching Future. Just want to show you a little blast from the past here. Everybody knows what this is. This is a standard right hand clamp on a Bitzenberger jig. It's a aluminum cast jig. You can buy different knock receivers for it. This one just happens to have a variety of different configurations on it. You can buy them. Some of them only come with a standard 3-fletch configuration, and if you want to fletch like a 60 by 120 for the PSE TAC 15, you can buy that knock receiver for that as well. But let's move the old out of the way, and I want to show you Dorge's Aerovane jig, but with a little slight modification. Let me take that air off there. I'll show you exactly how that's going to work in just a second. Dorge has an incredibly well-made, very precise, ultra nice jig. There is no two ways about it. And I think that it does a superb job on fletching. It's extremely precise as far as the indexing, and you're able to really turn out some nice shafts. I'm the kind of guy that likes to get out and modify and change things, so I decided I would add a few of my own little additions to the jig to be able to do a few more things than just what the standard guy needs. I shoot the PSE TAC 15, so I need a 4-fletch configuration. It needs to end up looking, let's see if I can get this on camera. Not doing such a good job here. Ends up need to look like this. That's a basic 60 by 120 degree spacing on the TAC 15. So that's the Aerovane 2 on the TAC 15 in the 4-fletch configuration. So to be able to get that, I wanted to be able to have an index for each vane. And also, Dorge supplies you with these collets that there's different ones, and they actually they'll adapt to any shaft out there, just depending on the size of the internal diameter of the shaft. And they have 3 O-rings on there to hold your shaft in place, and that's great. He makes an ultra precise knock, so what I wanted to do is to be able to take his knock and duplicate somewhat like what you would see on a Bitzenberger, but only with a little bit of a twist. So what I came up with is a little bit different, and this is the same kind of collet that will fit down in his jig. And I have 2 different ones that I made, and this one happens to be for the TAC 15, and as you can see, it is very thick. Right there where the tack is going to the knock is actually going to insert onto it. See, it's very, very thick because of the throat depth on the knock of the tack. So, but see, that fits really nice and tight, and because of his knocks are so precise, I was able to make this to where it will very easily accept that and stay extremely centered, and it does just a fine job. And this is more like a regular Bitzenberger, so by having that, it gives me a little bit more freedom to pull the knock off and reinsert it and still get it in the exact same place. So that was the only reason that I did it. It's nothing wrong with Dorge's setup at all. It's very precise and holds an arrow much better than the standard old Bitzenberger because there's so much slop and play in that setup. Now, the other thing, Dorge has some great magnets. I was able to find some that were comparable, but I ended up using his magnets just because they were the right size and they work so well. And what I did is I took the magnet and I took the it had a paint, black paint that was on it, and I removed that paint so that there was no possible way that this magnet would ever slip out of the bushing that we created. But we created a bushing out of brass, and it's a press fit, and we added epoxy, so that magnet is never going to ever come out of there. It's there for life. And then we oversized, had to machine the hole out just a slight bit so that this magnet, this bushing, will be able to move in and out of the chamber. Now, on the other end, as you might can see, what are those two things sticking out the sides? Well, those are micrometer heads. I happen to pick, let's see, can you see that? That is a EDP number 53207 stainless steel micrometer head. It's the catalog number 1463RL. It's a 1/2 inch in size, which that means it's 1/2 inch of travel, and has a ratchet stop, and it also has a lock nut. So actually bought those on eBay for fairly cheap. So anyway, that was just a micrometer head that I picked up. Now, we threaded the back of the bronze or the brass bushing here and put the micrometer head and attached it to that. There's actually a set screw in the bottom here, if you can see that. It's a little set screw that holds the micrometer body in place, and then the brass is attached to the post that sticks out of the micrometer, and that allows it to travel. So I can loosen this up, and then I can move. I'm not being able to see, I'm not doing a good job on the video, but you can move this magnet in and out any number of degrees, and it's repeatable in thousands, because you can of course you can hold it and just get it down to the absolute, thousandths, and then you can lock that down, and that thing is never going to move. It's there. So once I take my mathematical measurements, I'll be able to put my clamp on and move that micrometer head to the exact same position, measured my vane, and divide it by 2, and I'll be able to set my and I'm actually going to put a chart right on the base here, so that I'll know that blazers or whatever, any other vane that I happen to want to use, I can put it on here, and I'll know at some point in time exactly what I need to set my micrometers to get a perfect center fletch on that arrow. Just wanted to show you, I also put a bubble level in there. That's an addition that I think George has done as well. That's a bullseye level. And probably the final thing that I'll show you is I put a stop, this little blue knob down here, I put a stop on the indexing. Well, that's second to the final thing I'll show you. So at 0, if I want that thing to be absolutely perfect and not move at all, I can hold it, run this down, and stop that, and now there's absolutely 0 play, and it holds that thing perfectly still. And then when I need to fletch the next one, I simply just loosen it up just a tiny bit, and then rotate. Then the other thing I did is, because I want to be able to fletch quite a few different configurations, and it would just be easier to have an index on there, I went ahead and added, see, we had a 0, which was on there originally. I added a 60 degree, which that allows me to fletch the 4 fletch tack without having to move the shaft. I put a 90 degree, just in case I ever wanted to do a 4 fletch 90 like flu-flus or something like that. I have the 120, which is standard, the 180, which is standard, the 240, which is standard, and then the 270, which I needed to get my my tack on a 4 fletch 120 by 60 configuration, then back around to 0. So it fits every the standard version will fit. There's an example. That's my Axis. No, I mean, this is the Edge Hunter shaft, and that's George's knock, so it's tight down in there. This is a no-name knot configuration. I don't know what it is, and I didn't tighten my jig down good. But anyway, there again, that's in there very tight. This is a Victory V-Force with its standard knock. And as you can see, it fits down on there perfectly. And this one is a Victory V-Force. It's also the same thing in a green knock. I just grabbed two of the same arrows. And then to make my change out, I do just like you normally would. You just move it out a little bit, give it a tap, break that loose, and pull it out. Slide my... Here, I'm not even getting it on video. Very sorry about all that. Anyway, I tighten that back down, and now I'm ready to do my tack shafts. And as you can see, they fit down there very nice and tight. And of course, I have the little ends to be able to change out up on the front to give me the perfect alignment that I need. But that gives me the total range of motion that I would ever need, and gives me precision that that I can only attain through micrometer heads and all that. Now, the standard archer obviously would not want to go through all of this, but I like to experiment and improve and change, and that's just what I came up with. And well, there it is. And if you have any questions, you can send me a PM or make me a note, and I'll try to get back with you. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.